The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly podcast here, Mikey B. It's going to be actually one of the more, I guess, I want to say weirder shows, but I've never actually always teased doing this with Major League Baseball. I do this every year with football, with basketball, but never do it with Major League Baseball. I always said one day I'll do an over-unders pod. Never get to it, but I figured this year, I'm kind of excited about baseball this year, and I figured, you know what? Let's go for broke here. So of course I bring in the only person I know that probably knows more baseball than anybody else on the planet. The man.
I don't know about everybody on the planet, but I do know way too fucking much.
You know quite a lot about baseball. I mean, of all my friends I have, I think you're probably the most knowledgeable. So what's up?
Before we start, I'm going to say this because I haven't had this floor in a little while. If you're one of those idiots that's on Twitter complaining about the World Baseball Classic because Edwin Diaz got hurt, looking at you Mets fans, you're fucking morons.
I agree.
You tell me right now, the best player in baseball, Shohei Ohtani, versus one of the greatest hitters of all time in Mike Trout, with 2 outs in the 9th, USA versus Japan. That's a matchup that people drool over, and you're like, I don't like it because my closer got hurt. Well, maybe you guys shouldn't have been jumping around celebrating a meaningless fucking win. You celebrate like that whenever you win the championship. Not, hey, we beat the Dominican, and we still are going to be the 2 seed at best in our bracket because we lost to Venezuela. Like, why are we celebrating like that? Handshakes and let's move on to the next point.
Can I argue the Altuve injury is worse because it was in play as opposed to Diaz as a freak injury?
His injury is one of those where he's out 8 weeks. Right. It sucks. It's not. Right. But here's the thing: is 8 weeks really going to hurt the Houston Astros? I don't think so. Nope. He'll be back by June at the absolute latest. And guess what? If you're within 3 games of the division, you'll probably win the division by 10 games, and you'll still probably play in the AL title game even with a missing 8 weeks.
Because why you're the Astros?
Because at the end of the day, you've found a way to build your team to where you haven't had to overpay for people like a la Justin Verlander. You let them walk because you have Luis Garcia, you have Framber Valdez, you have Lance McCullers, you have bodies that can play the role. I get it. It's a drop-off. It's not Jose Altuve. I get it. Great hitter. Great heart of your offense. If Jeremy Pena hits half as well as he did in the playoffs last year, Jose Altuve coming back in 8 weeks, you'll be just fine.
Yeah. Speaking of which, would you consider, I got to the Astros in a second because we want to go through those teams, but the WBC, World Baseball Classic, is every 4 years.
It's got to be 3 years.
Oh, 3
26.
Years. It's got to be more often than that, man. It's just too much fun.
I don't think it has to be. If this point, if you're
at least 2 years,
but if you're going to do it every 2 years, you then run into the spot of teams like Houston, that are on these runs where you're like a dynasty.
Yeah,
you got guys that are playing 14 to 25 extra games that other guys aren't playing. You might start seeing those guys bow out because they don't want to put themselves at risk. But my thought process in the whole thing, it's achieved what it wants because now you have people clamoring for it more. It's not a bad thing. It never will be a bad thing to me. I was in the stands in 2017 when the Americans played the Canadians. Actually caught a foul ball off of Justin Morneau's bat. Shout out to Jago for being there with me. That was fun. I gave it to the kid next to me because I thought it was. I took a picture with it. It had the World Baseball Classic logo on it. I probably would have already lost that ball by now because it was 6 years ago.
You're a better man than me. I'll tell you right now. I'm keeping that bitch.
I regretted it like 45 minutes later, giving that ball up.
Oh, damn!
I do that. Yeah. But it's just it's one of those things where it works. It's a fun concept. It's really fun to talk about things like this. And the thing is, it allows players, and we're going to talk about them because the Angels are on this list. Mike Trout, 15 playoff at-bats in his entire career. Shohei Ohtani's never been in the playoffs. That was playoff caliber, if not more intense, last night in Miami.
I do wonder that.
Absolutely.
wonder if it translates to those two guys going back to their team in Los Angeles and
I mean, let's
propel them maybe
think
to
about, but let's think about this real quick, okay? You got a guy who hit a World Baseball Classic leading 5 home runs, who has played in a World Series, has won a World Series in Trey Turner.
Yeah.
And you're interviewing him after the semifinals, and they go, Trey, where's that home run rank in your all-time baseball life? And he goes, that home run is the most important thing I've done. What? And we're talking about how this is a bad thing for baseball?
Exactly.
Wake up at 6 a.m. Wake up at 6 a.m. and watch. Well, here's the thing. I watched the very first game, the 11 p.m. start between Cuba and the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Chinese type, in Taichin. Also because I had a friend of mine who was doing the commentary for that one. Shout out Tyler Mon, former Pelican great. Watched all the games out in Taichin. Great guy. But the atmosphere there, the atmosphere in Japan, like when there was a poll that went up on Twitter shortly before the whole tournament transferred to Miami for the semis and the quarters and the semis and the finals. They were like, pick 4 cities right now that aren't part of this. So Taichin's out, the Tokyo Dome's out, Phoenix is out, and Miami's out. Pick 4 cities to put this in 3 years. Give me a Australian-based one that you could put where they had the Olympics. Give me a. I'm not going to say Japan, but give me an Asian. There's a state-of-the-art stadium not in Tokyo that they've built that's a baseball stadium. Put it there if you want. That's fine. You can leave it in Japan. I get it. Give me the brand new state-of-the-art stadium that they built in, I believe it's Santo Domingo in the Dominican, and put one in New York. Put it at Shea. Put it at Yankee Stadium. Put it at a place like St. Louis that loves baseball. Put the semifinals and the finals in the new Globe Life Park in Texas. Like, you don't mean to tell me right now that place ain't going to be just as crazy as Miami is? Like, this. I personally think, though, and this is the one downside that I have about the World Baseball Classic, and then we can get to why we're here. I've looked at the way that they do the pools. The fact that, like, the Americans, like, are always going to be paired with, like, Mexico, Canada. Like, they're always just kind of, like, stuck with them. Like, I get it. Like, it sucks, but I'd much rather see, like, the Netherlands play in America and have, like, Great Britain or Canada have to be the ones that have to travel to Taichin or Tokyo or something like that. Send the Dominican out there and leave Cuba in America, or put a pool in Toronto or something. Like, I just feel like there's ways that they could make this so where it's like the Miami pool that had Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic, 3 great baseball countries. One of them isn't making it out because you're only taking 2 from pool play.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, yeah. But then we have, like, the cool story of, like, Italy and Chinese Taipei and, like, that whole bracket finishing 2-2 and the Netherlands not getting in. Like, I'm not going to say this, but, like, you put the Dominican or you put Puerto Rico or you put Venezuela in Taichin, like, one of them's going 4-0 and you're like, the other one is the one that you have to, like, fight for to, really potentially get through. So there are little things, I guess, that you can per se tweak, but it's not like we need to blow the thing up and rebuild it. Team USA does need to get some pitchers to basically commit to the next one, because that was obviously the Achilles heel. Yeah. Nobody in the top 10 of USA pitchers in WAR decided to pitch for the Americans, and only one in the top 20, and it was reliever Daniel Bard. In his last appearance, he gave up 4 earned runs.
There you go. And I will say, too, also, like, people who are so down on the WBC, it's to me, and look, baseball today gets a little bit of a weird rap because now people look at it as a regional sport, and to me, it's like, you can use any positivity you can coming into the season. Something like this, and then the ratings came out today on this, and it's very positive. This can propel this having a really good year, and especially now that in a year like this where it feels wide open, like it was last year. Like obviously Houston's the defending champions, but there was no guarantee Houston was going to win the World Series last year. There's no guarantee of that. I mean, they got hot late in the year and then losing the game until they got to the World Series, but this year feels wide open. And I think having this tournament going into a fresh new season with a lot of teams that can make a splash, you gotta kind of ride that wave, man.
Well, the other thing, and we transition to what's going on now. Obviously, pitch clock's a thing.
Yeah, how you feel about that?
Regular season games, if you want to move the game along, I have no qualms about it. But come playoff time, like you have to give these guys time to figure out how they're going to battle someone. I mean, you come to tell me like, hey, by the way, it's game 4 of the World Series. You're down 3-0. It's the 9th inning. You're up 2 runs. You're trying to hold a save. And by the way, guess who's stepping up to the plate? Yordan Alvarez.
Right.
And if he hits a 3-run home run, your season's over. And you have to literally you have a 20-second between every pitch. Like, hope I don't hang this fastball or curveball that I'm really rushing to throw because I don't want to get an automatic ball, and he hits it into the fucking moon.
And isn't there also injury risk with this as well? Injury risk?
So, yes and no. I think that this year will be something, if you watch early in the year, I think there will be a vast increase in stolen bases between the bigger base and limiting the amount of times pitchers can step off. I think the guys like Trey Turner of the world and the Jose Altuve's of the world are going to steal a lot more bases this year.
In fact, I think you'll see a lot of that early in the year.
Exactly.
Try to adjust to it.
Correct. It's going to be, and once pitchers start to find what they can do to keep runners at bay,
right?
It may limit itself. But I definitely think it's going to come down to the catching position. Because guys are going to have to get rid of the ball faster out of the glove. They're going to have to be able to pitch out, stuff like that more to keep the run game at bay. So I think that that's something you got to keep an eye on. But the thing that, coming into the year with the bigger bases and the pitch clock, I feel like that if you got rid of the pitch clock in the playoffs, I think I would be more than ecstatic about it. Because at this point, like I said, those games are the ones you're trying to go. What are you trying to go? Basically, 16-0 in the through the Major League Baseball playoffs.
And I think that's the one time where the drama of time and space is actually justified. It's the playoffs.
No, I would agree with that assessment, but the problem is when you look at the playoffs, and the whole reason why there's a pitch clock. If you want, there's a video on TikTok. If you Google it, it's Jose Altuve inside the park home run versus Pedro Baez. There was a playoff game where Pedro Baez literally, before he threw a single pitch to, who was it? David Ross. Before he threw a single pitch to the plate, Jose Altuve, they were able to play the same video of him hitting an inside the park home run 7 times before he threw a ball to the plate.
Jeez.
Home to home 7 times before he threw a pitch to the plate. Between stepping off and picking off and everything like that, like that's a solid 4 minutes that you just and you do that for every pitch. Why is it one at bat taking 27 minutes? I get it, shaving game time in April and May to keep injuries and things like that down. I don't have a problem with it. To keep wear and tear off of bodies. If you're telling me now average times a game go down 35 to 40 minutes. Okay, so they're playing 200 less minutes a week because most teams play 6 games a week. You're playing 200 less minutes of baseball. That's 200, so that's 4 weeks. That's 800 less hours of baseball they're playing in a month or whatever, or 80 less hours in a month. And literally, you're telling me right now that that's 80 less hours that I could lose my dynasty building first baseman due to an injury of a pulled hamstring. Okay, cool. Sign me up.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because I'm a big traditionalist myself, but at the same time, I see what the whole point is the appeal to a wider audience and make it. I get
it. I get that. Super baseball guy here. Still playing a men's league. Still do all that stuff. I'm the biggest baseball guy in the world. But you tell me right now that I now have the ability when I'm sitting at home to turn on a Red Sox game at 7:00, turn an Angels game on at 10:00, watch both games start to finish, and be in bed before 12:30. I just spent $150 on the MLB package. You mean to tell me I get to watch as many West Coast games because Red Sox games will be over by 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I won't miss any of the West Coast games? Sign me up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's positives also as well too here with this, but I get it. I totally get it. We'll see. I'm interested to see how the first month goes in terms of like the adjustment.
I feel like you have to go in with an open mind. If you're already closed off to it and you're already like, oh, stop ruining the game. Like, are you that person that also was mad that they finally made the universal DH a thing? Because if you are, nobody likes to watch pitchers hit. Shut up.
Right. Yeah.
Stop.
All right. So as I said, we do over-unders like you always do every year with the football and the basketball. Vegas has their numbers of teams and what the over-under number is going to be. It's obviously 162 games in a year. We're going to go A to W as always. First team here, and of course you're the expert here, so I'll lean on to you with teams and what to look forward to. First team, Arizona Diamondbacks. Last year went 74-88. Their over-under number is 75.5.
Wait, you said 78 last year?
74-88 last year.
And they're up to 75.5?
75.5 is their over-under.
All right, so I'm going to take a slight over on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the main reason behind it is the acquisition of Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, it cost them the offensive bat of Dalton Varsho, but sometimes two is better than one. I think that Gabriel Moreno will end up being the starting pitcher. The rest of the starting catcher for the Diamondbacks. They also acquired Kyle Lewis from the Mariners. I think that's an upgrade for them. They signed Evan Longoria, even though he's a shell of his former self.
How old is he now? Like 37, 38?
38, I think.
Yeah, he's up there.
He is, as I'm looking. He's 37. He will be 38th one day after my 35th birthday.
All right.
Their only big losses aside from Varsho, they lost Caleb Smith, they lost Ian Kennedy, who they declined his contract extension on. So I feel like there's more addition than subtraction to the Arizona Diamondbacks from a major league perspective. So with that, I'll take a slight over.
All right. Next team here, the defending NL East champions, the Atlanta Braves.
How does that feel to talk? Ugh. That hurt a little bit, didn't it?
I mean, I respect the Braves, obviously, man, but God, the way last year ended, so bad taste in my mouth. They went 1-1 and 6-1 last year. The over-under number is 95.5. Now, remember, this team won the World Series a season ago. Just saying.
Repeat that one more time.
This team won the World Series just a season ago.
No, say repeat what the...
Oh, over-under number is 95.5.
And they had what last year?
101 and 61.
So they're saying there's six wins worse this year, and that's all because Dansby Swanson's no longer a Brave.
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm trying to see what I want to do with here as my door just keeps opening and closing.
Hear that too.
Their only major league signings was Nick Anderson, Jackson Stevens, and Jordan Luplow.
Okay.
They acquired a couple guys via trade, but their losses from this season was Swanson, Wilson Contreras, Adam Duvall, Kensley Jansen, Robbie Grossman, Darren O'Day. This team is, I'm not going to say they're in shambles because Von Grissom will be the shortstop before the All-Star break, but they're young. Marcelo Zuna has to do something out of the DH spot for them this year to be a contender in the National League East. I'm going to take a slight under on the Atlanta Braves this year just because they don't even know who the hell their fifth starter is going to be. There's some questions still as we're wrapping up the final days of spring training. They just appointed Ian Anderson back to AAA, so it's not going to be him. So there's just some questions that I don't love about the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, they're a team that will turn their prospects into major league players if they have an opportunity to. So, this is one that line's a real good line. It's one that you could see it be one or two north or south. But I just don't love the fact that they don't have a solidified number 5 starter. So we're going to go slight under on the Braves.
Yeah, and it's also a competitive division. You got the Mets in there. You got the Phillies who won the National League last year.
The other positive about this, and we didn't talk about this before we started the gambit here, the schedule's changed. You're not playing your division as much. They're
really?
You're basically playing every team, I think, once. They changed the way that laid out. The Red Sox and Yankees don't play each other 19 times anymore. They only play each other 12.
How do you feel about that?
You're telling me I don't have to go through the murderer's row an extra 7 times, but I get to play the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds of the world for 7 of those games? Sure, sign me up.
Yeah, but you also love the Yankees and
I love the
Mets
rivalry, but that makes those 12 games mean more.
That's a good point. It's a good point there. And I think also the reason why I kind of see where you're going with the Braves too also is that it's a competitive division, arguably one of the best divisions in football,
Correct.
In baseball.
Correct.
Mets there, Phillies,
and
National League champion.
You lose your starting catcher and you lose your starting shortstop.
And frisky Marlins. Do we look frisky? I heard.
Oh, depending on what that pitching looks like, they could be real frisky.
Yeah, exactly. So I see where you're going with that one. All right, next team here. It's our good friend Big Jim's own Baltimore Orioles, who went 83-79 last year. Their over-under number is 77.5, though.
Wow, how dare they disrespect the great name of Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman. I will take the over on the Baltimore Orioles because they will not play the New York Yankees or the Toronto Blue Jays or the Boston Red Sox 19 times anymore. They'll get to play the Chicago White Sox and the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Guardians of the world. Acquired James McCann from the Mets. Great move there.
Yeah.
Acquired a couple guys off of waivers from teams. Yes, they lost Rudnett Odor. That was their big loss, but they were able to add Michael Givens, Adam Frazier, and Kyle Gibson. So I think that that's improvement to their major league roster. And again, let's not forget Cedric Mullins, Team USA representative, who hit a home run in the semifinals, is the starting center fielder for the Baltimore Orioles. Again, Rutschman, Henderson. They're young. They're going to be real fun to watch over the next couple of years. I said this the day that Adley Rutschman got drafted from Oregon State, that he would be the best catcher in baseball within 6 years of that time. And guess what? He is on the crash course to that right now. If you are a card collector, go out, find the Adley Rutschman cards that you can. I know they're going to be expensive, and hold on to him because he might be one of the best catchers that you'll ever see play the game of baseball.
So last year they were actually in contention for the wild card spot.
Yes, up until the last week or something.
Yeah. Does that repeat itself this year? Did they slide in, you think, this year? Or what do you think?
I don't know. I don't necessarily know that they slide in this year. I just think that this is one of those that line is really bad from Vegas. This is a really bad line.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I snap over. It's just, I feel like that one's easy.
They're saying that it was a fluke last year. What they're saying.
I mean, I think they're saying that they don't trust the pitching staff of the Baltimore Orioles, which I understand, but I'm sorry, they get to play Kansas. They get to play the Kansas Cities of the world. They get to play the teams that are struggling that they maybe played once every other year or something like that. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna play a 14-win Cincinnati Red team. Yeah, I'm real scared of people not named Joey Votto.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Close to home for you, the Boston Red Sox. Last year went 78-84. The over-under number right now.
The fact that they won 78 games last year was a freaking miracle because I fucking wanted to throw up about 6 weeks in.
Yeah. Over number right now is 77.5. Your Red Sox, Mikey.
I said over 78.5 on the ticker. That was my name whenever we started here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to shy away from that now. I'm going to stay with the over. I feel like they're over a 78.5 win team. But I will say this. Looking at basically the what's gone right, what's gone wrong for the Boston Red Sox. Xander Bogaerts no longer there. He's a San Diego Padre. Trevor Story going to be our starting shortstop. Well, now I'm going to have shoulder surgery, so he's done for a while. Probably won't have him back until late in the regular season, if at all. So now you take your center fielder, which was Kike Hernandez. Now you're going to put him at short. Now you're going to put probably Christian Arroyo at second base. And then you're going to put Adam Duvall, former Brave, in center field. And I want everyone at home, if you're a Red Sox fan, with me here. The Red Sox did not sign Xander Bogaerts because the San Diego Padres decided to do something fucking chaotic that makes Stephen Cohen's spending look like a day at the fucking beach. There was nobody within striking distance of that number for Xander Bogaerts that they signed him for. And I get it. Like, oh, spend your money. Let them know that you want them. You added like 7 years to that contract and like $200 extra million that didn't have to happen.
Are you saying that Deshaun Watson that whole thing?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay. That makes sense then.
So anyone that's sitting at home saying, The Red Sox didn't re-sign Xander Bogaerts. The Red Sox didn't re-sign Nate Eovaldi because they decided to sign Masataka Yoshida. You're wrong. That was just a decision that once Xander made his decision to go to San Diego, they pulled the offer to Nate Eovaldi because they said, here's a chance to reset ourselves, get under the cap, and go after the free agent class next year, which is fine. So don't sit here and say, oh man, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to win probably 83 games. We're going to be competitive most of the year and hope to God that Corey Kluber, Chris Sale, and James Paxton stay healthy. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's a bridge year.
You went over this one. Do they compete for the AL East title?
No.
Okay.
They'll compete for a wild card spot, but they will not compete for the division.
Okay. All right, next team here, we have the Chicago Cubs. Last year won 74-88. Their over number is also 77.5. The Cubbies.
Lose. Well, they gained Dansby Swanson. He is now a member of the Chicago Cubs. Added Cody Bellinger to play center field. If that guy could find his swing somewhere in Chicago, hello career resurgent year, but I don't necessarily know that Cody Bellinger could lay off the weed long enough to find it. That's a joke because he literally looks like he's high all the time.
I like that.
Jameson Taillon, Trey Mancini, Michael Fulmer, Brad Boxberger. They signed Eric Hosmer for the veteran minimum. So they've added some guys, definitely. They lost Wilson Contreras. He's the only real loss that they have. I don't hate this roster. I'm going to take the over. Tucker Barnhart will be a good catcher for this pitching staff, but this pitching staff is going to dictate where this team goes. So I'll take a slight over on that number just because I think the Pittsburgh and Cincinnati's of the world are really bad.
Yeah. Peace on that one. All right, let's stay in Chicago. We got the White Sox who won 81-81 last year. Their number is 83.5.
Ew. When you're okay, this is going to sound really fucked up because I actually like this guy a lot. But when your biggest free agent signing over the last 5 years is the free agent signing of Andrew Benintendi to a 5-year, $75 million contract, there are problems. You let Jose Abreu walk. Yeah. You basically let Johnny Cueto go. AJ Pollock's gone. Vince Velasquez is gone. And your biggest moves are bringing in Andrew Benintendi and signing a 1-year deal to Mike Clevenger. Oh, and by the way, 37-year-old Elvis Andrus is going to be part of your infield. I'm going to take the under on the Chicago White Sox this year.
Okay. Oh, here we go. This is interesting here. The Cincinnati Reds.
If their over-under is more than 37.5, I would be surprised.
They went 62-100 last year. Their over-under number is 65.5. I think I know the answer to this question.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. It's not good. Not good at all.
How far are they away from being competitive again?
They're about as far as it is. It'll take me to actually save up enough money to buy the Cincinnati Reds, I think.
Jeez, that long, huh?
I mean, you pounded a bunch of money into guys like Mike Moustakas and Joey Votto and guys like that. And I love Joey Votto. Joey Votto's fantastic. I love Joey Votto. He's one of my favorite follows on Twitter. Dude's fucking hilarious. But they're not doing anything around him. They haven't built anything around him in years. They have no pitching. They're just not good. I don't necessarily know that it's anything more than they're just not spending the money. It's the Kansas City Royal effect. You try to get competitive for a couple seasons and you trade off all the assets and then you don't spend any money for 6 years.
So easy under for you, of course.
Yeah, snap under.
All right, let's stay in Ohio. We got the Cleveland Guardians, formerly the Indians. Last year went 19-70. I believe they won the AL Central last year. Their overall number is 87.5.
Ooh.
Interesting.
You said 87.5?
87.5. Lower than their win total last year.
I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over for the very specific reason of they didn't lose any starting pitching and they added Josh Bell to that lineup. Jose Ramirez is arguably the best third baseman in baseball, not named Nolan Arenado, who we'll talk about a little bit here in a little. But they signed Josh Bell, they signed Mike Zunino, they acquire a couple guys, but they didn't really lose much. They lost Austin Hedges, they lost Luke Mailey, they lost Brian Shaw. They didn't lose a lot either. This team is pretty much the same team that came out there last year, with a more healthy version of Tristan McKenzie and Shane Bieber. I think that this one is, this one is just one that I think is not going to say easy, but I definitely think the Guardians eclipse their total this year.
All right. And also, I would say that probably the second or easiest division in baseball, maybe. Second easiest.
I mean, I think the Guardians win that division. Let's say that. If it's not the easiest division, the only division that I would say is probably easier would be its counterpart in the National League.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Because I think St. Louis is going to run with that division again this year, but we'll talk about them in a little.
Right. Okay. Next one here. Detroit Tigers last year won 66-96. Oh no! I'm sorry. I skipped one team.
Yep.
We'll get there in a second.
Yeah.
Colorado Rockies. I'm sorry. Colorado Rockies went 68-94 last year. Their number is 65.5.
I'm trying to look at what they did in the offseason because I can't find anything. I just can't. Yeah, this team ain't good. This team is not good at all. And it's not. It's God. They can't get. They'll never get pitching to sign in Colorado because the fucking ball will fly out of that stadium no matter if you throw 100 or you throw 64.5. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take the under. Just even with the Dodgers regressing. And San Francisco being moderately better. Like, by the way, enjoy the juggernaut that is now the San Diego Padres.
I was going to say that. San Diego is probably the king.
Plus, Brandon Rogers is hurt. He dislocated his left shoulder. Lucas Gilbreth is having Tommy John surgery later this week. You know, they're already through some injuries that are not good for this team.
Right. All right, next team here, we have the Detroit Tigers. Now we're in Detroit. They went 66-96 last year. Their overall number is 69.5.
Oh,
this seems pretty bad the last 5 years now.
It's a good line though, because they got a lot of young guys. This is a real good line. They signed they worked out Zach Britton about a month ago. Don't know what they're doing with him. Casey Mize underwent back surgery last year. Just trying to see if they exactly what they did. Added Matthew Boy, added Michael Lorenzen, claimed some guys who were on waivers. Lost Chafin, Jimenez, Soto, Clemens, Tucker Barnhart. Yeah. You know what? God.
Go over. Fuck it.
I'm gonna take a slide over just because I think this with this being Miggy's swan song, I think they're gonna try to do something crazy to try to get him to the playoffs one more time.
This is last year, right?
I'm pretty sure he said it was going to be his final year. I mean, I would say if it's not his final year, I would be incredibly surprised because I believe he's a free agent at the end of the year, and I don't think he's going to sign anywhere else but Detroit.
He's what, 37, 38 also? Maybe older?
Yeah, he's on the older side.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
There
you go. The champs are here. Houston Astros. Last year went 106-56. Their number is a lot lower, 96.5.
Yeah, because you're not going to get 10 free wins against the Angels and the Oakland A's of the world. You're going to have to play teams that are actually fucking competitive. Let's see here.
Lost Verlander obviously last year.
Yeah. Verlander's gone. Yordan Alvarez is coming back. Supposed to be ready for opening day. Don't necessarily know that that's going to be a thing. Obviously, Altuve is now missing time.
It feels like an obvious under here.
Yeah, I don't think that there's much of an option here but to take the under just because I don't necessarily think that they have they have good pitching. They have great bullpen. But missing Altuve, he's a guy that could definitely take him not being there could cost them 4 games, maybe 5 games. Like it could be a 4 or 5 win swing. And if that's the case, those 5 games that they could have won, that could have gotten them to the over. So yeah, I'm going to take the under on the Astros, but I still think that they are super competitive and pretty much could be a 2-team race for this division.
Yeah, I see them starting slow, maybe, and then pick up the pace later in the year, but stay under that number.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. All right, next one here. We got the Kansas City Royals. Last year went 65-97. Their number is 68.5.
How do they gain 3 wins? Where do they gain 3 wins from?
Maybe for the same thing you were saying earlier about
Jordan Lyles, Zach Greinke, Aroldis Chapman, and Ryan Yarborough are their free agent acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
They acquired bum-ass Josh Taylor for Adalberto Mondesi. You can have him. Fuck that guy. That guy sucks. Yeah, Yeah, like, oh, by the way, they signed former Red Sox great Jackie Bradley Jr. Enjoy that 165 hitting with great defense. Fuck.
How long has he been in fucking baseball now?
Too damn long.
Yeah.
Too damn long for like a career 185 hitter.
Oh
Great in the
God.
playoffs, but a career 185 hitter.
That's my wife. Yeah, but, well, you can't get to the playoffs this team, though, unfortunately.
But who you telling?
You go under this one too?
Why does it sound like he's outside? Sorry, my dog is acting like a true asshole right now.
Yeah. Interesting number, though. 68.5.
68. I'm going to take the under just because I don't think the ghost of Aroldis Chapman past can save this bullpen.
All right. Next one here, we have the L.A. Angels. And, of course, they went last year, went 73-89. The over-under number is 81.5. As my son Logan, out of nowhere, pops out of the sky.
Hit him with the elbow drop.
It's birds of plane. Angels, obviously,
it's enormous.
We discussed Ohtani and Trout and the WBC and all that, and A1.5 is an over number. I'll be honest with you, I'm interested about this.
I'm gonna snap the over.
You think there'll be some positive energy going into this year for this?
I think positive energy helps, but let's talk about who they acquired. Tyler Anderson will definitely be a benefit to that rotation. Brandon Drury will help that offense. Matt Moore is a guy who can be a swing guy. Brett Phillips is a good bench player. They traded for Gio Urshela. They added Hunter Renfroe, and their only real true losses were Michael Lorenzen, Archie Bradley, and Tuki Toussaint. They didn't really lose a lot. They lost a couple bullpen arms, but they added a couple bullpen arms, and Tyler Anderson, I think, is a better starter than some of the other guys that they were trekking out there in the middle part of last year. Obviously, when you have
spend money too, also they spend money. You just can't seem to get the production on
the real issue is they spend money. I'm not going to deny that, but the Anthony Rendon contract, where it's like he's coming off winning the World Series and having a great year and being a key piece of that, and then it's he broke his thumb. Oh, now he hurt himself again. Now he hasn't played like in 2 years, so now that contract looks like dog shit.
Yeah, of course.
The real problem in this whole organization was all the money that they gave to Pujols.
Yeah.
For his foot to basically just die.
Yeah. They definitely held him back.
By the way, can we talk about how they have the spring training rights for Albert Pujols for the next 10 years? As part of the contract, when he retired, instead of being able to go to St. Louis Cardinals camp to work with the guys, he has to go to Angels camp and work with those guys if he wants to for the first 10 years that he's retired. That was a clause in his contract. Kind of fucking retarded.
I'm sure he can get out of that if he wanted to.
I mean, if I'm the Angels, I don't let him because, I paid you like $1 trillion to be mediocre. You could at least come out and sign some baseballs and talk to our fans.
Good point. All right, so we went over this one too. Okay, here we go. This is the one I'm really interested in here, and that is the LA Dodgers. Last year, of course, 111-51, monster regular season, meltdown in the playoffs. Over number, of course. Over number is 96.5. Is this the year that it starts to fall off for the Dodgers?
Yes.
And how bad?
Because your big free agents and signings was re-signing 35-year-old Clayton Kershaw. It was signing Noah Syndergaard, who, depending on what day of the week it is, will determine if he can throw his fastball for a strike or not. Yeah. And then it was acquiring the services of 35-and-a-half-year-old JD Martinez. And you basically let Justin Turner walk. You let Trey Turner go. You let Cody Bellinger go. Tyler Anderson's gone. Craig Kimbrell's gone. Joey Gallo's gone. Andrew Haney's gone. Oh, and by the way, the guy that you were going to start at shortstop this year, Gavin Lux, tore his ACL. So you then trade for Miguel Rojas, who is a defensive first shortstop, former Marlin great, used to play at our job all the time. Mm-hmm. Best of luck to Miggy in LA. Nothing against him, but a defensive first shortstop. Gavin Lux wasn't going to be that guy. And literally, your like I said, your big moves are Kershaw, Syndergaard, Martinez, and David Peralta. I think it's under. I get it. They don't have to play. They don't have to play the Padres 19 times this year, but it's one of those things where you're gonna have to play them 12 times, and you have to play the Giants 12 times, and you have to play, some teams maybe in the NL East that you haven't had to play as many times more this year. It's not good. It's not a good place to be in right now if you're LA. I think this is a soft reboot for them.
So obviously the under is pretty obvious here. I guess the question I have really is this the year they fall apart, or is this the year that's just a slight decline? Probably still playoff team.
I think you see a decline. I think you see them contend for a wild card, and I inevitably think they win a wild card just because I don't necessarily know the depth of how good. Like the National League East is going to be good. I just don't know how good they're going to be. So, and the Central is really St. Louis and then everybody else. In the NL Central, I mean the Brewers will be entertaining. Let's not take anything away from them with that pitching. Yeah. But if they get into shambles, I could see those guys just being traded at the deadline and them rebuilding, and then it just becomes the Cardinals division for the next 7 years.
Right. Good point there. All right, here we go. Let's go local here. Miami Marlins. Last year, 69.93. Over our number is 75.5. I've been hearing some good things with the Marlins this year. And that number is pretty respectable.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
They did trade Pablo Lopez for Luis Arraez, the American League batting champion. Obviously the defending Cy Young Award winner, Sandy Alcantara, will be the opening day starter. Jesus Luzardo, Trevor Rogers, they added Johnny Cueto. The fifth spot in the rotation is kind of up in the air right now for who they want to go with that. I do like the fact that they're going to add Garrett Hampson to the roster tomorrow. 28-year-old was with the Rockies organization. He's fast. He makes fast people not look so fast. So good problem to have. Obviously, Luis Arraez is a good addition there. They signed Jose Iglesias, signed former Astro Yuli Gurriel to minor league deals.
Is it Jose, not Enrique?
Yeah, I'm sure it's not Enrique.
Not Enrique.
So what I will say here is I'm going to take the over.
I'm with you, man. I think now the thing is, you're taking the over. That means there's some losses. There's probably going to be teams in that same division that's going to probably lose.
I'm also taking the over again because they're not going to have to go through the Mets 19 times. They're not going to have to go through the Braves 19 times. They have some games there probably that they could steal. Even if they only win one of the games in a 3-game set against the Baltimores of the world. Like if you can steal a game there that you would potentially lose all 3 to the Mets or all 3 to the Braves, like you can steal a quick 5 or 6 games out of those extra. If you steal 6 of those out of those 28 extra games that are against other teams, like you can hit your over.
Yeah. I'll be fascinated to watch this team this year. I really will. All right, here we go. Milwaukee Brewers last year went 86 and 76. Their over under number is 85.5.
You said where they go last year? 86?
86, 76. They were
in contention.
Wild card contention, and they kind of
fell apart. They stuck the grenade in the bowling ball and just watched it explode.
They were. I think they lead the division at one point.
They led it for a while.
Yeah. What about the Brewers?
All right. They added Wade Miley. They added Brian Anderson. They were part of a 3-team trade where they acquired William Contreras from the Braves in the same trade that sent Sean Murphy to Atlanta. Added Jesse Winker from the Mariners for Colton Wong, so that's a little bit of a drop off for them on the offensive side of it. Added Luke Voigt to a minor league deal, but like I said, they lost Hunter Renfroe, they lost Connor Wong, lost Taylor Rogers, lost Andrew McCutchen, lost Brad Boxberger. I'm going to take a slight under. Okay. And I think that this leads to a bigger problem for the Milwaukee Brewers because if this team gets out of the gates really slow, what do they decide to do with Brandon Woodruff? What do they decide to do with Corbin Burns? What do they decide to do with Freddie Peralta? This team, if they decide that it's time to hit the eject button on this situation and nuke this thing, they could get a lot of really good prospects for those 3 pitchers leading in down the deadline. Keep an eye on the Brewers. If it gets ugly out of the start, I feel like this could literally be a bad thing for that organization. Yeah. And it could be a good thing for the guys that are going to end up getting traded somewhere else.
Right. Good point. All right. Next one here. We have Minnesota Twins, who last year went 78 and 84. The over-under number for the Twins is 83.5. The Twinsies.
Ooh. some things that have come out from this team early to start over the last couple days. Jorge Polanco and Alex Kirilloff will start the season on the injured list. Byron Buxton will be the primary designated hitter to start the year to try to avoid him ending up on the disabled list again. They lost our good friend Mr. Carlos Correa and then got him back because of the other bullshit.
Yeah,
because that was fun.
That's a good time.
Oh God. I'm gonna take the under. I get it. Pablo Lopez is a great starting pitcher. He might be their opening day starter. I don't know if he's been announced as their opening day starter, but it cost him the AL batting champion. Yeah, I'll take the under on the Twins.
All right, here we go. My team, the New York Mets, last year 101-61. Of course, meltdown late in the year. Overall number 94.5. Of course, we discussed it earlier. Edwin Diaz out for the year. They signed Justin Verlander. The Mets, I still think they're a good team. I don't know if they're 101 anymore, but
what was their record last year?
101-61, and their overall number is 94.5.
So they have you as 7 wins less.
Yeah.
Because Edwin Diaz got hurt. I'm not going to say it's because of Jacob deGrom because that guy's only going to make like 7 starts as a Met ever in his career, so it doesn't matter. Oh man. So they lost deGrom, they lost Taijuan Walker, they lost Chris Bassett, they lost Seth Lugo. Those are 4 big losses. They added Justin Verlander, they added Kodai Senga, added Adam Ottavino, as well as David Robinson, Jose Quintana. I think the big question mark right now for the New York Metropolitans, it sucks, obviously, losing the closing abilities of one Edwin Diaz and not having Seth Lugo to be the guy in the back end of that bullpen the rest of the way. But I feel like the injury that's going to potentially affect them more because he's only going to play through the injury hurt, and that's Brandon Nimmo on that slide. With him playing through it, I'd almost rather him take the 2 weeks off, put him on the disabled list, and let him heal properly than try to play through it. I think that's a problem that could be detrimental. It's a low-grade strain in the knee and ankle. You know, he's, quote, week to week. Give him the first 15 games off because I'd rather have him for the last 140 is the way I look at it. I'm going to say Quintana's out till July with a rib injury. Oh, Jesus Christ.
This feels like an under here. A slight under.
I mean, I guess I'm going to take a slight, like 92.5.
Yeah.
93-ish. Like, this team can be right at that number very easily. Like, see, this is one of those lines. Like, it's a good line, but it's like an annoying line.
Yeah. Well, it's Vegas for a reason. We know this. they
get to rake in all of our money for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so to stay in New York, your favorite team, the Yankees. Last year,
go fuck yourself.
Yep. Last year with 99-63, the overall number is 94.5. Of course, they retain Aaron Judge, the big one, the big signing of the offseason, of course.
Is it only the big signing because he's tall?
That too.
Okay.
Yankees. I mean, we know every year the expectation of this team is to go to World Series or bust every year, obviously. So, the Yankees. How do you feel about the Yankees this year?
I will take the under.
Oh, interesting.
I get it. Carlos Rondon's a nice signing. He's not going to start the season healthy. He'll end up on the disabled list to start the year, as will Tommy Kahnle, as will Lou Trevino, as will Harrison Bader. So cool that you hit 62 or 63 home runs last year, Mr. Judge. But Anthony Rizzo with his 36-year-old back and all those other guys that are hurt, and you know the $21 million that you're paying to Josh Donaldson, who hit like 160 down the stretch last year.
Putrid.
Yeah. And you guys were worried about Gary Sanchez being your catcher and hitting 160. You're paying a third baseman $21 million to hit worse.
Yeah. I'm with him on that one. I see a slight under. I think they'll playoff team. I think if I win the division too.
I don't think they win the division. We haven't talked about the team that's going to win the division.
Ooh, interesting. But we'll get to that in a second. Next team here, we have the Oakland Athletics. Last year, 61-02. Overall number is Sorry about that.
Please tell me it's 54.5 because this team is
not quite low, but in the 50s though. 59.5 actually.
I'm taking the under. Literally, this is their major league signings in free agency. Aledmys Diaz, Jace Peterson, Trevor May, Shintaro Fujinami, Jesus Aguilar, and Drew Rosinski for a total of $40.25 million. They traded their best hitter, Sean Murphy, to Atlanta and got back some prospects. They traded AJ Puck, one of their better relievers, to the Marlins for JJ Bleday, who's now been appointed to AAA. And by the way, Cole Irvin, gone. Stephen Vogt, retired. Chad Pinder, see you later. I might throw 17.5 innings for the Oakland A's this year out of the bullpen. Because
is it mean if I say to go under?
You can't name anyone that plays for the Oakland fucking Athletics. Under.
Is it mean if I go under this one? Seriously?
No, it's under. Like I want to watch Moneyball because that Oakland A's team was at least fun. This one is not fun.
Oh my god! Have you ever had a team? What is the worst team you've ever seen record-wise in baseball history? Like, has ever been a 40-win team ever? I know the Mets team 93 was pretty bad, but I think they won 50+ games though that year.
Shoot.
Good question, huh?
Well, I wasn't alive in 1899 when the Cleveland Spiders went 20 and 134, but that's pretty goddamn awful.
God. Ooh.
Yeah, 1899, Carol. 1962, the New York Mets went 40 and 120. The 2003 Detroit Tigers, ladies and gentlemen, the worst team of the 2000s, 43 and 119.
Wow.
I want to look at that Tigers roster. I really. Oh, here you go. They went 8-11 against the White Sox, 7-12 against the Indians, 5-14 against the Royals, and 4-15 against the Minnesota Twins. Where's this roster at? Because I literally want to see how bad this roster was. I can only imagine the putridness.
Was Granderson still there in 03?
He may have been. God, this team is awful.
Any names that stand out? Any names that stand out?
The starting lineup for your 2003 Detroit Tigers. Now catching is Brandon Inge. First base, former Red Sox great Carlos Pena. Second baseman was Warren Morris. The shortstop was Ramon Santiago.
Oh my God.
Third baseman was Eric Munson. The left fielder was Craig Monroe. The center fielder was Alex Sanchez. The right fielder was Bobby Higginson. And the designated hitter was Dimitri Young. They had
I know that guy.
Yeah. On their bench, Omar Infante. Decent career. Current manager of a team, AJ Hinch.
Okay.
Cody Ross.
We know that guy too.
And listen to this pitching staff. Nate Criniejo.
Nope.
6-17 with a. Where's his ERA? I need to see this ERA. Oh, where's it at? 4.67 ERA. He was their number one.
Number one, right?
Their number two starter was Mike Maroth, 9-21 with a 5.73 ERA. Jeremy Bonderman, 6-19 with a 5.56 ERA. Their number four starter was Adam Bernero, 1-12. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. A starting pitcher as your number four went 1-12 with an ERA of 6.08. And their number five starter was Gary Knotts, who went 3-8 with a 6.04 ERA. The only pitcher that did anything in this entire top to bottom starter bullpen, Fernando Rodney.
I know that guy.
Was in that rotation, or was in that bullpen. He went 1-3 and had a 6.07 ERA, but he fixed himself real quick by getting the fuck out of Detroit.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's your 2003 Detroit Tigers. Oh my God. Bad. So bad. All right, let's move on here. We have the defending National League champions, the Philadelphia Phillies. Last year went 87-75. Of course, surge in the playoffs, though. Over number is 8.5.
I'm snap overing. Just I'm not even gonna let you finish the sentence. It's over. It's over by a lot. They added trade. I get it. Bryce Harper is going to start the year on the disabled list, but they still have Kyle from Waltham. They added fucking Trey Turner. They added Taijuan Walker. They added Craig Kimbrell. Yeah, I get it. They lost Gene Segura. When Gene Segura is your biggest loss of your offseason and you added Taijuan Walker to an already good pitching staff and arguably a top 3 shortstop in baseball, the United States of Trey, how would you even contemplate taking the under for this team?
Would you say the favorites to the NL East? I would.
See, I don't necessarily know that I want to anoint anybody the favorite in the NL East because I feel like that's the most open division in baseball.
We went under on Mets. We went under on Braves. We went snap over on the Phillies.
Yeah.
Both those teams are separated by 5 games in terms of the over-under predictions. I would say Philadelphia is I won't say the heavy favorite, but at least the.
I would. Yes, I would say. Honestly, Vegas probably still has the Mets as the favorite.
Okay.
If you're like trying to bet like who do you think is going to win the division, I think Vegas probably still has the Mets because of Verlander and Scherzer.
Right.
Because I feel like they think that they're a better 1-2 combo than Aaron Nola and
assume they hold up. Max.
Yeah,
hurts a lot.
But, you take that gamble. They were the favorites for like 4 years with 7 starts from Justin Verlander or from Jacob deGrom. So I'm not really surprised.
True. All right. Staying in the same state, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates, who last year went 62-100. Over number is 67.5. They play in a very easy division, though. So the over,
yeah, but their additions are Rich Hill, Carlos Santana, Andrew McCutchen, Austin Hedges, Vince Velasquez, and Yarlin Garcia.
Did you just say Carlos Santana?
I did.
So he retired from music and he's playing baseball again?
Correct.
Jeez,
they lost Roberto Perez. They lost Ben Gamel. You know what? Give me the fucking over on the Pirates.
I'm with you, man. In that division, man, anything's possible, man. Not a playoff team, obviously, but
no, I still think they're about 4 years away from being a playoff team.
Oh God, still 4 years? Wow.
They have a lot of really young prospects in like single A and double A. I think by the time you get all of them up here, it's still going to be a couple years before they're ready.
All right. Here's the one I'm looking forward to doing: the San Diego Padres. Last year, 89-73, went to the National League title game. Championship game, should I say? NLCS.
Mm-hmm.
Over number is 93.5. Is this snap over here?
How is it only 93.5?
Thank you. I snap over. Is any injuries notable injuries? Is Tatis out till?
Tatis is still out with the suspension.
Till when though? It was an 85-game suspension, wasn't it? He's served about 40 games already.
I think he's out until. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Honestly, their only real big quote injury was Joe Musgrove dropping the kettlebell on his toe and that. Let me look at Tatis's.
I hurt even just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, Tatis suspension. Let's see. August 12th, it was when he was announced that he would be suspended for 80 games for the
30-ish games, 40-ish games.
Yeah, so he's probably April 20th is the earliest that he can come back.
That's soon. That's
so basically the first month.
Yeah.
He's out the first month basically.
Snap over.
Juan Soto's day-to-day with a mild oblique strain, so he might not be in the opening day lineup to start. Okay. Added Xander Bogaerts to that 11-year, $280 million contract that they were the only person that and we got near 11 years or $280 million. Way to bet against yourselves, you fucking idiots. Added Robert Suarez, added Nick Martinez, added Michael Wacha, added Seth Lugo, Matt Carpenter, Nelson Cruz.
Matt Carpenter too?
Yeah.
Is that Cardinals Matt Carpenter?
Yeah, New York Yankee Matt Carpenter that fucking like set the world on fire last year, and everyone thought he was like the greatest Yankee of all time, not named Babe Ruth. Manny Machado and Yu Darvish both signed extensions. Your losses are Sean Manaea and Mike Clevenger and Josh Bell, but you added Xander Bogaerts, Robert Suarez, Nick Martinez, and Michael Wacha. Yeah, I'm going to take the over by a mile.
Yeah,
winners of the National League West.
And I'm going to talk about that more when we get to the predictions for the divisions.
More on that later.
Yep. All right, next team here, we have the San Francisco Giants. 81-81 last year. Over-under number is 80.5.
Who knew that They almost signed Arson Judge, the brother of Aaron Judge. John Heyman with the worst tweet of all time, by the way.
Yeah. They're always competitive.
Yeah, but it's.
I mean, you're not playing. Like I said, you're not playing Dodgers 19 times this year. You're not playing the Padres 19 times this year. Could you at least sneak it to 83 wins?
Yeah, your big offseason acquisitions were coming off of an injury, Michael Conforto and Mitch Haniger. They got to play Arizona. They got to play Colorado, which are both shit fucking organizations. Fuck it. I'm going to take a slide over, I guess. Yeah. I think I talked myself out of
all the same applies here. They're not playing them as much as you.
Yeah, but they're still going to play the Cincinnatis and Pittsburghs of the world, and I think they're better than both of those teams. You know, if you take 2 out of 3 from both of those teams twice, you know, it's 4 out of 6. Yeah, I guess. Give me the over. Slightly 85-ish.
Okay. All right, next team here, we have the Seattle Mariners, who were one of the shockers last year. Went 90-72 last season. Over-under number 88.5 is the over-under. They're a playoff team last year, too. The record.
Full year of Luis Castillo as a member of this pitching staff. I will take the over on the Julio Rodriguez-led Seattle Mariners.
Are they the second best team in the division, I guess?
Yes. It'll be them and Houston that compete for the division.
Yeah, all right. Next one here, the St. Louis Cardinals. Last year went 93-79, over on number 89.5.
Snap over.
Snap over.
What are we doing here?
Eastern Division of baseball.
What are we doing here? Like,
yeah,
I get it. Like, you're like, oh man, they lost the Albert Pujols of the world.
They're the Spurs of baseball. The Spurs.
Sure, absolutely. And by the way, they added Wilson Contreras, one of the best hitting catchers in all of baseball.
There you go.
Hey, all right. By the way, Yadier Molina's not there anymore. We're just going to add one of the best hitting catchers in baseball. Sorry.
Yeah, Molina retired. I guess scoring at home. All right, four more teams to go here. Tampa Bay Rays, 86-76 last year. Over number 8.5. Is this the team that was in the least?
80.5 is the over under.
88.5. 88.5. Is this the team? Was the?
I'm going to say that they are under 88.5 this year, and they do not win the American League East.
Oh, it's the other team coming up here in a second that wins the division.
Basically losing Mike Zunino, Corey Kluber, David Peralta, Nick Anderson, Kevin Kiermaier, Roman Quinn, Ryan Yarborough. They got to hope that they can get more innings out of guys like Tyler Glasnow and Shane Baz. You got to hope that Wander Franco doesn't get hurt again. I get it. Wander was a fluke injury last year. You're hoping that it's not the same thing. Your one major league signing was a 3-year, $40 million contract to Zach Eflin. Nah, I'm good, dog. Give me the under.
All right, next team here. We have the Texas Rangers, who last year
Walker. Texas Rangers.
Walker's right. Last year went 68-94. The over number, however, is 82.5.
I feel like this is one you have to take the over.
Okay, obviously added DeGrom. Who else they added besides DeGrom?
They added Nate Eovaldi, former Red Sox great. Let's see. I'm getting to the page right now. Obviously, Jacob DeGrom added Nate Eovaldi, added Andrew Haney, accepted a qualifying offer from Martin Perez. So they had their number one re-signed. They added 3 starting pitchers that are going to go immediately into that starting rotation. Added Robbie Grossman to the outfield. Acquired Jake Odorizzi. Acquired cash for Nick Skolik and Dennis Santana. And they only really lost Cole Calhoun and Matt Moore out of that everyday roster. So I feel like just the addition of, even if DeGrom only makes 15 or 20 starts, it's better than some of the guys that they were wielding out there at the end of the year last year.
Right. I'm not even baking that the DeGrom starts here into his number because I don't think that much of an impact. But yeah. All right. Toronto Blue Jays.
I was running through the 6 with my woes.
Blue Jays 92-70 last year. Over number 92.5.
Over and the division.
That's the team.
Over and the division.
Why? Sell me on them.
Added Dalton Varsho. Full year of Bo Bichette getting even better. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what else do they do here. Alex Manoah just getting better as he gets figured it out. Didn't lose Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who didn't play in the WBC due to knee inflation.
Is he out for the year or is he be back in time?
No, he'll be back before the start of the season, I think.
Okay.
Alejandro Kirk's just getting better. Oh, here's the update on Vladimir Guerrero. Nope, that's the wrong one. That definitely said Starling Marte for some reason. I don't know why.
He got hurt last week.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say. Let's see. Basically, the fact that they were able to do, they're also at $175 million payroll.
Mm-hmm.
But Robbie Ray is going to have a better year. They added guys to this roster that has made them increasingly better. So yeah, I don't necessarily know. Added Bo, or they signed Bo to an extension. Yeah, I just don't necessarily know that I think that there's many teams that are as competitive with things that are going on here. Matt Chapman another year. They signed Brandon Belt, who's going to be to give them the ability to put Vladdy as the DH more this year. Yeah, I'm all in on the Toronto Blue Jays winning the division and being the guys. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to trade for anybody at the trade deadline. We're just going to wait for Hyun-Jin Ryu to come back from Tommy John surgery in July, and it's like getting a free fucking acquisition at the trade deadline.
All right, and finally, the last team here on this list, the Washington Nationals.
Hold on. I just got a phone call from the Washington Nationals. They want me actually to come in and play fucking third base for them left-handed next year. Weird.
This team won a World Series like 4 years ago.
Yeah, this team has like 3 guys that were on that roster still.
Yeah. 55-107 was their record last year. Overall number is 59.5. They also play in NL East, where you have the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies, and the Frisky Marlins.
Like, they didn't add anybody, but they really didn't lose anybody. Like, their big loss was Nelson Cruz, 40-year-old Nelson Cruz.
Oh, hey.
Their major addition was Jaime Candelaria, who was the starting first baseman for the Dominican after Vladimir Guerrero got hurt.
Yeah.
They added former Met great Dominic Smith to a 1-year, $2 million fucking contract. Great. He's going to strike out 165 times this year.
Isn't he 40 years old too? Like, no, he's
Dom's young.
I think somebody else.
Yeah, he's 27.
Okay. You want somebody else then?
They added former Met, Trevor Williams, 30-year-old. God, I don't even want to talk about this team. Like, that's how bad they are. Like,
so you had under on Mets, you had under on Braves, you had over on Phillies, you had over on Marlins. So
I will take a slight over on the Washington Nationals.
I have the same idea too. Also,
like 61 or 62 wins. Yeah. Like, this team is not good, but I don't know that they're 59.5 bad.
Yeah, readjustments here, and they get kind of frisky late in the year too, especially like last year.
Yeah, and I mean, you start getting some guys that are in your pipeline coming up in the middle of like July and August, whenever you're out of it, and you just let them play, and they steal a couple games from teams that they shouldn't. Like, they can get frisky and slide over.
Yeah. All right. A couple questions for you guys get out of here. So give me your division winners per league, American League first. Blue Jays in the East, you said, of course.
Jays, Guardians, and Astros.
National League. Oh no!
Phillies.
Wait. Do the wild cards in the American League.
2 wild cards, right?
Is it 3 now?
It might be 3. I don't fucking remember.
I think it's 3 now.
I gotta look because I don't even fucking remember.
Let me make sure of that. Hold on.
Yeah, my brain's
I remember last year was 3 though.
Yeah, I think it is.
Playoff MLB playoff spots.
6 teams per league, so 3 division winners and the 3 wild cards. Yeah, okay. So 3 wild cards. Yankees, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Mariners.
Okay, again.
And shocker here, I'm going to take the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Southwest Compton County.
Oh, you're buying that? You're buying the energy? Okay, I'm with you.
I'm gonna go for it. Fuck it, let's go.
Let's do it. All right, National League.
Phillies, Cardinals, Padres, with the wild card teams being Mets, Braves, and the Dodgers.
Dodgers get in there, huh?
I think that I feel like they squeak in just because I think Milwaukee blows it up when they struggle out the gate.
You know what that says though? National League is too top heavy.
Oh yeah, it's 6 teams and it's everybody else.
Right.
So, maybe 7 teams if Milwaukee gets off to a good start.
Right.
But It's true. Like you said, it's truly a top heavy division, like top heavy league. Like it almost feels like how the NFC is going to feel next year. Whenever like a lot of the starting quarterbacks are Derek Carr and Andy Dalton, and insert rookie here, and it's like, oh, look at these quarterbacks of Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurt. Like you're gonna have like 4 teams that could win the fucking NFC, and it's everybody else.
Yeah. All right. So the ALCS will be what? The 2 teams in the ALCS will be.
It'll be the Houston Astros and the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay. What about NLCS?
The Philadelphia Phillies will play the St. Louis Cardinals.
And your World Series will be?
Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Philadelphia Phillies.
Basically a 1993 rematch. Oh, Mitch Williams. Don't come to the game.
No.
as you come to the game.
Yeah. I mean,
Joe Carr might come to the game also, too.
Yeah, Joe.
And your World Series champion is?
They'll be playing Dancing on My Own down Broad Street.
Why are you doing this to me, man? Why are you doing this shit to me?
Because they're going to inevitably get Bryce Harper back.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those, like, loaded. It's the same thing as Hyun-Jin Ryu. Like, you're getting a free all-star at the trade deadline, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Like, you're going to get him back. Like, it is what it is. Like, in a perfect world, like, I would love for a World Series to be the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Orange County, Compton, West Side represent versus the Dodgers, because it could be Shohei Ohtani being like, I could be an Angel, I could be a Dodger next year. Which one am I going to be? But it's just not going to happen.
Right. Your National League MVP?
The National League MVP this year will be a man who represented his country very well this past week. It'll be U.S. Trey. Give me Trey Turner.
Oh, okay. Nice one. American League MVP?
Really? I mean, the easy money is on Shohei. Like, I think they should just make a unicorn award and hand him that and every year and not worry about giving him the MVP. But you know what? To be different, because I feel like that's just such a slam dunk that he's probably the Vegas favorite. Oh man, where am I gonna go?
Not Trout.
No, because I feel like I think all the West Coast voters are going to vote for Ohtani. Fuck it, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Okay. National League Cy Young winner.
Oh,
tough one, huh?
I mean, they proved last year that the team doesn't have to be great for the guy to win the fucking thing.
Right.
Fuck it, give me Verlander.
What? Are you serious?
Dude's like 40, but he's shoving.
He's so good, though. I know.
He's just shoving.
He's so fucking good. All right, and lastly, the American League Cy Young winner. Shohei.
I mean, again, I'm not gonna pick him because he's probably the Vegas favorite.
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna go different just to go different at this point. Give me Shane Bieber.
Oh, okay. All right. There is your Major League Baseball first time in 12 years on the Earnestly podcast preview, and that was good.
Hell yeah.
And I feel smarter now. I feel informed now for the season now. That's why I figured I'd let you run the breakdowns on what to look for, whatnot. So because I watch a lot of baseball, sure. I'm not as in tune with every team as you are. So
no, I mean it's just one of those where there are just some things that teams, like, there are teams this year that I think are like, quote, resetting, because guys like Ohtani are going to come free agents next year, and I think they're going to want to be in on that, and they know they're going to have to spend $500 million to be in on it. So
Ohtani will be the first $500 million man.
Yeah, I think he's going to get $500 million from someone. It's just who's gonna fork the money over.
Yo, Steve, what's up?
I don't know. I don't think he goes to New York. I truly don't. I think he's a guy who wants to stay on the West Coast. It's closer to Japan, travel time.
You think Dodgers will do it?
I truly believe he ends up as a Dodger.
Damn it!
And I think that's why they didn't go heavier after Trey Turner or shortstop to take that spot. They let Justin Turner go to get underneath the money. I truly feel like the Dodgers are going to be a team that's going to offer him $500 million and basically a blank check and say, sign it if you want. Yeah. I mean, I think the Angels will make a run to keep him because of what they have, but they got to do something around him, and maybe this is something Brewers decide to blow it up, you go get Corbin Burns, and you put Corbin Burns and Shohei Ohtani as a 1-2. They get in the playoffs. It's going to be tough to beat that 1-2 combination of Ohtani and Burns. So something to keep an eye on. Personally, I think I just think he ends up as a Dodger just because I think they'll be the only team that just has the fucking money to do it.
And it actually makes the most sense. Based on everything you just said there, it makes most sense.
Yeah.
Travel.
I mean, he's made it known that he'd prefer to stay on the West Coast. Now, personally, if Seattle decided to like close their eyes and write a $500 million check, like I could see him being like, "Oh,
what
Ichiro played here." I don't think they would, but I could see Ohtani loving it because Ichiro, the cultural stuff in Washington State already. Like I could see it being like enticing. I truly don't see how especially if Major League Baseball is going to brand him as the guy, you want him in LA.
Yeah. And preferably the Dodgers, of course, to a team that has.
I'm just saying from a marketing perspective, you want him in LA either way.
Right.
He's easier to get into commercials. He's easier to get involved in things. It's easier to get him to award shows and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if like you're going to make him the guy, like it's just easy.
All right. Anyone plug we got here?
You can follow me if you want on Twitter at They Call Me Burn. You can listen to our wrestling podcast, Take 3 Wrestling. That's also on Twitter at Take3 Wrestling. Sunny Days and Double Plays, a Palm Beach baseball podcast. Breaking news: starting my own team, Palm Beach Blue Jays. Starting broke away from the team I was playing on.
You're the GM, I guess.
I am the GM coach / player. I am the LeBron James of the Palm Beach Blue Jays. Basically, so we're waiting for the season to start. I'll have some new episodes up in the next couple of weeks with that. Other than that, yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome, man. Great job, as always.
Hell yeah.